Yep. Oh. How are you boys doing today? Paul, would you mind dropping something into the Discord for me that we're going live? Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. All right. Look at that. We got some people joining in. Excellent. Good. Let's give them a few seconds to get in from the Discord, from the Instagrams, from the Facebooks and Twitters and YouTubes and everything else. All right. Look at that. We got some people in here. Oh, gotta get my mic put up here too. Fucking boomer problems. All right. Let's get set up. Oh. There we are. Okay, good. Now, I believe it's about time for us to begin. Today is going to be a fun one. Today, I'm going to be teaching you about the top 5 signs that she doesn't like you. We've talked before about things that you can do to get a girl interested in you, to turn that interest into attraction. But, thanks, Steven. I appreciate you there. And I will try to remember that. We're going to be going through all of this stuff. But because you're here to join me today, you actually get a bonus. Instead of 5, it's about 10, actually. So you're going to get to learn all of the different things to look out for, the red flags in your conversations that are going to tell you that she's just not that into you. But before we begin, she hates you, but she can fuck anyway. Okay, cool. Yeah, absolutely. I guess so. That's one way of going about it. Now, if you would like to truly enjoy today's live stream, if you would like to take it up to the maximum level, welcome my teaching. If you would like to truly enjoy this and reach the height of humanity, the culmination of all of civilization, all you need to do is grab your glass, your mug or your flask, a chalice, a stein, or even a cask. Raise it high and let's make a splash. It's time now for our libation bash. Toast the night and enjoy the mood. Together now, we drink some booze. On your mark, let's not wait. It's cheers with chaps, so don't be late. Cheers. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for the reminder. It is so easy to forget that when I get so excited about our material, and more importantly, I get excited about drinking a beer. Today, I got the bear beer. Let's pull that one out. We got a bear on here. Oh, there we are. Yeah. Bear drinking beer. I approve. Julius remembers Bear. Bear liked to drink beer. That girl was a drinker. All right. So let's jump straight into today's lesson. These are the things that you need to be looking out for to know if she's into you or if she's not. If you should keep this conversation going and try to pursue something, or if you should just cut her loose and get back to searching elsewhere. So the first thing, the scene zone specialist. You guys all know this one. We've been there. I've been there. You've been there for sure. This is the girl who sees your message and then leaves you on read. She doesn't answer back. Or maybe she answers back days later, years later in some cases. I got a message about 8 or 9 months ago, around the beginning of the year, from a girl who I had messaged back in like 2016 or 2017. And she actually answered back now, like whatever that is, 6 years later. She was like, oh, hey, sorry, I just saw this. I'm like, the fuck? Really? So look, if you find yourself as a scene zone specialist, if she's leaving you on read and not answering quickly and timely, she's probably not that into you. An honorable mention that goes along with this is if she talks to you and she answers you, but she calls you bud, buddy, pal. That should have a Y on it. I'm an idiot. Let's do that real quick. We're just going to go, buddy. Beautiful. Like a hero. The duct tape production that is Live with Jack. So yeah, if she's calling you guy nicknames, if she calls you dude or something like that, and if she talks to you about other guys, then you are not the target of her affection. Girls will drop hints like this very often because they don't want to be mean, they don't want to be rude, they don't want to break your heart and your spirit and your soul and turn you into one of those weird incel mass shooter guys. Here, I'm gonna make this full screen, make it easier for our recording for later use. So if she's calling you these names, if she's calling you buddy, pal, dude, friend, right? If she ever uses the F word, then she's not into you. She doesn't like you. So that's a good tip. Absolutely. Watch out for the F word. If she ever uses the F word when talking to you, then you know she's not into you. The F word I'm talking about is friend. And friend, as Cake once famously told us, is a 4-letter word. So watch out for that one. Next, the time traveler. This is another very common way for girls to signal to you that they aren't that interested in you, that they don't want to date you, that you are not actually a prospect on their radar. The time traveler, somehow, no matter what happens, whenever you ask her to hang out, you try to plan something together, and oh, hey, I would love to, but I'm so busy. I'm totally booked up until about 2050 or something like that. Like this girl will make all the excuses in the world to not meet you. She sounds like a politician with how many excuses she's making. The time traveler is not interested in you, and she does not like you. The next one, who is also kind of similar, is the Phantom of the Chat. This is the girl who, you know, she'll kind of talk to you, she'll humor you a little bit, but she's not really engaging in any way. She might leave you on red, but she might also just be answering back maybe a few hours later, and then even then just small answers, or just kind of like push it off, kick the can down the road a little bit. Oh yeah, we should totally hang out sometime. Oh yeah, we should totally do something. And she leaves things vague and ambiguous. And that girl is not interested in you. Next, we have the monosyllabic maestro. I'm a fan of this just because of the way it rolls off the tongue. But the monosyllabic maestro is the girl who will talk to you and answer back with one syllable words. She'll answer back like, okay, yes, no, something like that. She'll never expand and tell you what she's actually thinking, what she's feeling, what she wants, anything like that. If a girl is interested in you, then she's going to want to talk to you. She's going to want to dump her bullshit on you because she wants to dump it on somebody. And if she's interested in you, she's probably going to do it to you. If you get a girl who's answering you back with one letter replies or single syllable replies, she is not at all interested. This also works even if there are more syllables, right? But if she's giving you short, curt answers, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about because we've all seen this. We've tried this. We've tried talking to a girl and she's just so closed off. She won't open up. She won't talk to you at all. That girl is not interested in you at all. Next up, we have, similar to the monosyllabic maestro, is the emoji overdose. This is a girl who will, maybe she'll like your messages, but she won't answer them. Maybe she'll give a thumbs up or something like that, or she'll answer you just with an emoji or a face or something like that. This girl's not interested in you. This girl's not interested in you. Either that or she is extremely socially stunted, in which case you don't want to be dealing with her anyway. But a girl who communicates only in emojis or only in memes, that girl is not interested in you. The girls who are interested in you, like I said, will want to talk to you. They'll want to dump their problems on you. They'll tell you about their day. They'll complain about their boss or their coworkers or, oh my God, that bitch Janet or something like that. But if she's just answering you with emojis, she is not into you. Next up, we have no questions asked. Whenever a girl is into you, she's going to answer your questions, but she's also going to ask some in return. Now, we all know girls have shit game. because they don't have to have good game. But she's still going to at least try. She's going to ask some basic questions, even if it's just answering your question. And then she says, how about you? What about you? Damn millennials. Yeah. Just, Steven, millennial. I'm a millennial. We're old now. It's the Zoomers. It's the Zoomers. The ones that the TikTok kids. So yeah, if she's not asking you any questions, if she's not even saying like, what about you? How about you? Or what do you think about this or something? She's not asking you questions. She doesn't want to find out more about you. The only reason she doesn't want to find out more about you is because she doesn't like what she already sees. So why dig deeper if she thinks that it's a pile of shit? I'm not saying you are, but might be her perception. And as we talked about last week, perception is reality. So if you find yourself running into something like this, probably because you have not built your system correctly, or she's not the right type of girl for your system. So think about that as well. Similar to no questions asked is the selective amnesia. This is the type of girl who she somehow forgets whatever you guys talk about. Maybe you guys chat about something, you have something in common, and then the next time you're like, oh, how was this thing? And she's like, huh? What are you even talking about? I don't know. How's your sister? What? I have a sister? Oh, I think I was just lying. I'm making shit up, right? The girl who forgets things. Or if you make some kind of plan together and then you say, okay, cool. By the way, we're still on for today. You send her a message in the morning. You say, oh, I hope you're really excited about today because this is going to be an awesome night. And then she's like, wait, what? What's today? I don't know what you're talking about. This girl with selective amnesia, she's not into you. She's just fucking around. She's just making up excuses. She probably does remember, but she's putting it off. Why is she putting it off? Because she's just not that into you. Next up on our list, the social media Sahara. Oh, yes. This is the kind of girl who is, and these two actually go hand in hand. So we're going to talk a little bit about them. I like the title of this one, though. Tag, you're not it. That's fun. But the social media Sahara is when a girl is constantly going out and doing things, and she has pictures up all the time of all the stuff that she's doing, but she's never got time for you. She never wants to hang out with you. And whenever she's tagging people in photos and posts and stuff online, she's not tagging you. She's not trying to bring you into her life, and she's not trying to get into your life. She doesn't want anything to do with you. So that lovely social media romance that you think you've been building, that girl from the gym who you added on Instagram and then you commented on a couple of her stories and then she just hit like on your comments, she's not into you, man. She's not. If she were, she would want to talk to you. If she were, she would want to hang out with you, do things together with you. She would want to bring you in as part of her life or get in as a part of your life. But she's not, because she's just not that into you. Literally half the girls I've had were just not that into me. So this is all actionable advice. There you go, I guess. I mean, half the girls you've had were not that into you. Not entirely sure I understand that, but that's okay. So these are some of the things to look out for, to know for sure if a girl isn't into you, if she doesn't like you, she doesn't want to be with you. And here's the thing, you might be saying to yourself, or you might be screaming at the screen right now, but Jack, I don't care. I want that girl. Even if she doesn't want me, I want her. Okay. All right. Do you though? Do you? Or do you want your idea of her, your fantasy of her? Because it sounds like, if that's the case, the thing you want is not reality. So if you find yourself thirsting after some girl on social media, understand that's not who she actually is. That's the version of herself she puts on there. If you find yourself talking to a girl and getting buddy or getting K, something like that, you don't actually want to be with her because she's not into you. And trying to spend time with somebody who doesn't actually want to be with you, who doesn't actually want to spend time with you, it's not fun. It's painful. No matter how hot she is, it's just not fun. It's like fucking pulling teeth, trying to get a conversation out of a girl who's going on a pity date with you, or who's just there to get a free dinner or to check off a box or something like that. No, instead, you need to actually build your system correctly, start finding and meeting the right girls. And if you're not sure exactly how to do that, you want to figure out what your system should be, how you're going to go about meeting these girls, how you're going to avoid these traps and these issues, you need to go over to realjacknorth.com right now, where you can sign up for a free one-on-one call with me while I still have time and slots available. So you need to hurry, and I will go with you through this journey together. And we will talk about exactly what kinds of girls you should be meeting them. We'll talk about how you can build your system, and we'll give you an actual plan personalized to you and your situation that's going to help you start finding, meeting, attracting, and keeping the right girls, the ones who actually are into you. So, with all that said, let's bring in our panel of guests. I believe we have two friends joining in today. Paul, would you do the honors, please?
Of course I can.
Go.
So we have me, and as well as me, we also have Julius.
Julius.
Hey, what's going on?
I'm gonna pull us over here to the Papa Jack chair. That's the spot to be. Here we go. And get my beer. All right. All right, lads, let's jump into it. How are you guys doing today?
Doing pretty good.
Good. Oh, Bento says he's doing well too. You want to come? All right, come here, buddy. Simba says hi.
Hi, Simba.
All right, so let's jump into the Q&A. What do you have for us today, Paul?
So the first one here is, I see on social media sometimes a video or tweet about chicks who get annoyed when they reject a guy and he then just gives up. Is there any merit to those sorts of videos? Like, so I'm guessing the question is, like, all those videos and tweets about guys or girls who get angry or upset when a guy stops chasing her.
Yes and no. Yes and no. Girls can reject you, but in a way that's not a complete rejection. Like, I mean, everybody knows this, right? We all know that no doesn't always mean no, right? A lot of times it might mean no to this particular offer, but I'm still open to hearing something else. Or it could mean no, not today, or not this thing, not at this time, but maybe another thing. If you know, then you know. If you know if you know what a girl means by what she's saying, not just the actual words, because the actual words often are not what she actually means. But if you can suss out what she's trying to communicate to you, then you can tell the difference between a rejection, like a full-on rejection, and a girl who's saying, try again, but I'm open to it. Does that make sense? Like, do you know what I'm talking about there?
Yeah, I think I agree. Definitely no doesn't necessarily mean no.
Right.
Especially, or let's rephrase that so we don't get screwed by YouTube. No doesn't mean directly means no in sense of the rejection of not dating you.
Right.
But that also means you have to have the social awareness to realize when no is just no to this particular date.
Right. Right.
Because that can happen. Like, you can suggest a date and then you just get a flat out no, and then you say, okay, then let's go to the normal, like the usual bar and grab a drink. And they say, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's definitely, there's some truth in it, but also I wouldn't read too much into it.
Yeah. If you're ever unsure, then just
ask again.
Yeah, or just cut it and move on, right?
Yeah.
Like, because also the types of girls who are going to do things like that, who like the types of girls who are making these videos and tweets who are saying, "Oh, I rejected a guy, but then he stopped trying." Like those girls are just playing games. Right?
Playing games are the most exhausting things that could be done to a guy, and it's also the biggest waste of time. Stay away from them.
Yeah.
You
Nothing
remember?
good comes from that. Yeah.
Caesar probably remembers this one Chinese model that I went out with 2 times, I think.
Oh yeah.
And when I came back to Korea and tried to get her out again, she was being like that. Like, then we've already been out twice. The chemistry is good between us, but then whenever I suggested something, she was either busy or just didn't want it.
Was it Kitty?
No.
No. This girl, she was a knockout.
Caesar's met her. Caesar
Yeah.
knows who that.
She's really cool and really, really pretty.
Yeah.
So nothing against her. It's just, she wasn't giving Paul the time of day. Why would he waste his time trying to get her out?
Yeah.
No, but still, like even now, like whenever I go back to Korea, I just shoot a message like, "Hey, want to grab a beer?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's like my height. It's insane.
Wow.
Yeah. She's tall. She's like Jade. I think taller than Jade. Prettier, younger.
Pretty tall.
Yeah. She's like I said, a 1%er. Yeah, but usually girls like that, they just do that. I mean, if they get angry at your rejection, it's kind of like a guy when he gets rejected, and then he gets mad, right? And that just shows
you
that
must be a lesbian.
Oh my god! But the female equivalent is they says, "Oh my god, are you gay? I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Oh no, I just think you're fat." Or
no, I just don't fuck fat chicks. Thanks.
Yeah, I just sorry. It's just no. I mean, I don't even insult them. I go like, "Oh no, I'm not gay." You don't have to go that far. I'm just.
Am I gay?
I don't explain myself to you.
Definitely.
Yeah, they get mad. I think it's just a hard cope. And if they're making videos about, and then they post their L's online and they get millions of views, well, whatever. That's an interesting way to say no one likes you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to answer the question, just cut them and move on, or just like Paul does there, right? If she's not down for it, okay, cool. Try again in 6 months or whatever, right? Like, doesn't matter.
Some girls are worth it.
Maybe
his friend, yeah, that's always worth it. But she's a unicorn. That's why. She's Paul. I mean, back me up here.
Yeah. There's a reason I send a message.
Yeah, there's a reason, guys. Like,
sure.
We're not going to show pictures, but there's a fucking reason where he gets the Obama seal of approval here. Sorry, she does. So.
Obama seal of approval.
She's nice. She's premium.
Yeah, but also like as long as I'm not invested in trying to like, as I know, like when I send that message, there's a 99% chance of rejection again.
Absolutely.
Like I don't really care about the outcome.
Yeah.
No. It's just
like, hey, I'm back. Let's grab a beer.
Yeah. Even I've messaged her, and it's not even in the sense of dating, because I was like, this is Paul's territory. I gotta respect that. I was like, hey, I'm back in Seoul. Why don't we hang out sometime? She's like, oh, well, I live in Suwon. So I'm like, oh, okay. Let's keep it friendly, but nothing else.
I mean, are you actually telling me that if she answered back and she's like, oh yeah, I really do want to hang out with you?
Last time we were hanging out, she really wanted to hang out again. Paul could tell you. Yeah. So that was things were good, So I'm surprised that she didn't want to hang out with Paul. With me, I just kind of let Paul have that one. So
maybe she's time traveler.
Actually, I didn't let him have it. Paul made it very clear that was his. I was like, all right. Like Denmark and Greenland, I get it.
Bro code. Okay. Yep. Let's move on then. What's the next question we've got, Paul?
Yeah, the next one here is if the girl doesn't put up on the first date, does that mean she's putting me in the friend zone, or does it depend?
No, but you need to be able to read the situation, right? Like it's kind of like the first question where, by the way, if you guys watching, if y'all have other questions, you can type them into the chat, and we'll be able to put them on the screen and answer them. A girl not putting out on the first date doesn't mean anything, right? Like maybe she's on her period and she doesn't want to deal with it, or maybe she's just not horny, or maybe she's Maybe she's just wanting to take it slow. Like, okay, cool. It doesn't necessarily mean you're in the friend zone.
No.
But it could. It really depends on the situation. You have to learn to read her cues. Is she not putting out because she's saying, "Oh, no, like I like you. I want to keep this going, but like not yet. I'm not ready for that." Or is she not putting out because she's like, "Wait, what? Your home? Why the hell would we go to your home? No, gross, ew." Right? Those are two very different answers, even though the answer is the same.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a reason why we have, like, at least me personally, I know Caesar says the same. Like, you have girls that are 1-date girls, and then you have the 3-date girls.
Sure.
The girls that need 3 dates before she's gonna come home to your place.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. It's simply some girls are more reluctant to sleep with you very early.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Well, and especially when you're in Korea and there's a rather heavy social stigma on I don't want you to think I'm a slut. I don't want you to think that I regularly have sex with random people from the bar. So I'm just not going to have sex until, several dates in. And rightly or wrongly, it doesn't actually matter. That's what's in her head. So you might be dealing with that. Also, you might just be friend zone. So you need to figure it out. And if you're not sure, you can always just ask her, right? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with saying like, are you feeling this? Because I feel like we've got a pretty good connection. I feel like this might turn into something. How are you feeling? Yeah? You into it? Yeah, okay, cool. You can ask her. You want to keep doing this? You want to keep going out? You want to keep dating? You want to keep whatever? You can just put it out there. What do you guys think?
I think if I understood the question, because I didn't hear Paul too well, this is if you don't fuck on a first date, you're in the friend zone.
Yeah, the question is, are you in the friend zone if you don't hook up on the first date?
Okay. My dude.
Right.
I think the likelihood of doing it on the first date for most men is so low that I think it's kind of like a lofty threshold to hold for yourself if you don't manage to do this. Like, do you realize that most first dates that most people go on doesn't result in that? So if that doesn't happen, that doesn't mean you're in a friend. It doesn't mean the date didn't go well. It just means two people didn't have sex. I've had dates where I've nailed the girl on the first date. I know Paul has. I know Jack has. But we've also had many other dates where we didn't. And that doesn't mean those dates were fission mailed. So
yeah.
It's just some women, you have to play a more patient game.
Yeah. I mean,
don't use it as a standard though.
Like on our first date.
Sorry?
I said Lady North and I didn't hook up on our first date.
Yeah.
I clearly wasn't friend zone. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, it's like I just think it's a very weird standard to hold yourself to. Don't do that.
You really do need to learn to read her cues. Read what she's communicating to you. Not just the words she's saying, not just the result. Like, did we hook up or not? It's heads or tails. It's yes or no. It's black and white. Like, listen to what she's actually telling you. Not necessarily directly, but read the cues, read her body language, read between the lines to what she's saying, understand the subtext, like all this stuff that it isn't that hard to tell the difference between we didn't hook up because I'm friend zoned, or we didn't hook up because we just didn't hook up.
Oh yeah. Usually you could tell and how the date ends. So if the date ends, you guys give each other a nice hug, you continue texting right after that.
You guys to shake your hand
right away. Yeah, that happened to a friend of mine.
Nice to meet you. Oh no,
she shook his hand at the subway exit.
Yeah.
Oh well, that was a lot of fun. Thank you. Never saw him again.
Yeah. Of course
not.
Yeah. So you just got to see how it ends. If you guys are immediately wanting to meet up again, cool, great, things are going well. But if not, if the conversation's quiet, she's not messaging you, you're not messaging her, sorry, dude. Yeah, that's friend zone, king of the friend zone.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Well, and all of these things that I went through today for signs that she's not into you, like through her texting and stuff, all of that applies to real life as well, right?
Yeah.
If you're having a conversation with a girl and she's not asking you questions back, she doesn't want to know more about you, she's not telling you about her experiences, she's giving you one-word replies, things like this, then she's not into you. Then you're friend zoned. And like, that's fine. But once you realize that, just be like, okay, cool. I can tell that this isn't going to work out. So sorry for wasting your time. Have a good night. And then just peace out and just leave.
Yep.
Because you don't want to waste any more time than you have to.
Time is precious. You might as well use it on someone better.
Yeah.
Or receptive.
Yeah. Or just like whenever you're on dates like that are going bad, I've always been amazed by this, that people will actually continue a bad date where they don't enjoy each other. I'm like, fucking why? Yeah, like,
hey, just peace out. Be like, all right, well, yeah. I mean, I think one of the worst dates I've ever had. I went to a chicken restaurant. The girl was giving me evil looks because I was saying like bad words. I wasn't saying like horrible stuff. I was just saying fuck, shit. Yeah. And she was like, give me this glare. I was like, all right, well, you're a bitch. And so we just like split chicken. I was like, all right, later, I'll talk to you. And then I just went to Hongdae and hung out with my friends. I think it was Jack. Yeah, exactly. I was like, why would I do this? I'm not going to stick around. I didn't message her again. Why?
When I would go on first dates, I would always bring my guitar on my back. And this served a couple of different purposes, right? Like first, it just adds another thing to talk about on the date. She's going to ask, like, oh, you play guitar? Why do you have your guitar? And, oh my. And my answer would always be, oh, I bring the guitar along in case our date sucks. Because while I'm out here, I may as well just go and play some music on the street and make some money. And she's like, wait, what? You plan for our date to suck? Happens. I have a plan B ready in case you suck. And that, like saying that directly, it put them always on the back foot of just like, so I need to actually perform well. I need to have fun. I need to be making this a good date. Otherwise, he's just going to fuck off and go play guitar. Like, yeah, that's correct.
Isn't that so much better as a plan B than to just feel bad that things just didn't work?
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least I have my guitar, or at least I have my friends, or at least I have my brother to play with. Like, you're not my only plan. You're just a thing I'm doing today.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that thing creates both in yourself and in her a sense of abundance, a sense of time scarcity. Like, she is lucky to be on a date with you because you have so many other things that you could be doing, that you want to be doing. And you're spending time with her. So you're welcome, right? Now, let's at least have fun, right?
You got to have some fucking standard for yourself and be like, no, the most important thing I've done, my highest standard today is I ate fucking Frosted Flakes this morning. So, like, my standards are pretty fucking high. Like, meet or beat that. If you beat that, I'm impressed. But I don't.
If you can outperform my Frosted Flakes, you're doing something right.
With my lactose-free milk, yeah, of course.
Getting old sucks, doesn't it?
Actually, but I mean, if you're half Mexican, getting old does suck. But Coot, he asked a really good question. How do you manage three-date girls? Yeah, can
gonna bring it up once we finish this one. How do you manage 3-date girls? It's always first.
I have a good answer for that. I mean, Paul, fucking Jack's married to one. Like, after the first date goes really well, you guys are constantly talking to each other, and you set up a second date ASAP with her, right? So you say you meet up on a fucking Tuesday, like, cool, let's meet up Friday, and then the third date you meet up on the following Tuesday. Hopefully you smash, or make the dates work out a little better in your favor. So when the third date falls on the weekend, like on a Friday or a Saturday, then you have a higher chance of succeeding by sleeping with her. And it's not the same as sleeping with the girl on the first date, because in between of what goes on between all those 3 dates, there's so much more of her getting to know you, right? So try not to conflate the two of like, oh yeah, we're succeeding by sleeping with him. It's more like now I'm putting it so much effort and she knows me a lot more, to where when now I'm able to sleep with her as part of us dating.
Yeah, I also think a very rare ability is to notice that girls that are 3-date girls rather than girls that are not interested. Because at least in my experience, you can meet girls and you can tell even before the first date that most likely this is a 3-date kind of thing. You will see it in the way they talk, in the way they behave themselves, and on the first date, you will especially see it in how they react to physical escalation.
Yeah.
They're not against it, but they feel a little uncomfortable about it anyway. It's like it feels good, but it's weird that it feels good. And then when you realize that this is a 3-date kind of thing, if you are certain of that, you are most likely better off not trying to go for getting her home on the first date at all, right? Because that also, in my case, that have been a downturn at least twice, where I know that I've taken them out later and like had to basically make an apology.
Yeah, you
but it
most
has
certainly
worked.
have to read it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then eventually they've gone home with me anyway. But
Yeah.
the idea is that you need to understand the type of girl you're dating. Like if you're dating a proper prude, a combination of prude and shy girl, most likely you will struggle on the first date.
Yeah.
Based on the type, right?
Yeah.
At
I
least
think,
statistically.
yeah, the flirtation and the physical aspect of the first date will determine where this is gonna go, right? But guys, I still want to say that taking a girl home on her first date is very rare, I think, for most people. So, and I mean, I think.
So, a couple of thoughts here. First off, hard to disagree with Paul on that one. But this is specific to my case and to the way that I treated dating, which was very, very forward, very aggressive, very honest, and like I'm not hiding any of this. Of course, I want to hook up, right? Like if you're down for it, if we can do that, then of course I want to. So may as well just put it out there, right? And I would not quite that directly, but something like, oh, I have to go because the last train is soon, and then I say, oh, don't worry about the last train. Actually, my place is just like a 10-minute cab ride from here. We can crash there later on tonight. Something like that, where I'm just like putting out the fishing line to see what's she going to do? How does she respond to this? Because I'm not saying skip the train so that we can bang. But I am kind of saying skip the train so that we can bang. And she knows that.
Yeah,
right?
I tried that once. Basically, so we had a date in Hongdae. We had a good drink in the first place. We were heading to our second place, and then we were in Yeonnam-dong, and we were gonna walk down to a whiskey bar I know in like Hongdae Main Street. And then we walk past the hotel, and I mentioned, "Oh, this is where I live, right?" And she freaked out.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know. I
Well,
guess so. So this is an older girl. Like she is 37, I think. And for some
Okay.
reason, she just not
flip.
having it. Yeah, she flipped. She decided that okay, I think it's time for me to go home.
Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway.
So you went to the whiskey bar anyway, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
I went to the whiskey bar, but the thing was, she then like, okay, this guy is only after one thing. That was her impression from it, right? So we've been out again after that, and then the first time I took her, then I didn't even attempt it. like, yes, I do everything else, the physical escalation, everything, but leave out the trying to get her home part.
Interesting.
And then on the third date, that was piece of cake.
Okay. I again, like, I understand you completely. Very situational. All of this is very situational. Learning how to read, what is she communicating to you? What is she showing you? What is she telling you? And then responding appropriately is important. However, as a general rule, I'm a big fan of go for it, right? Because 99.9% of the time, the girl is not going to make the first move. So you do have to put it out there at some point. And it might be that she is a first date kind of girl, or it might be that she's not usually a first date girl, but maybe she is for you. Or it might be that she says, I appreciate the offer, but not yet. Maybe next time.
On the flip side, I've had 25-year-old virgins be a first date girl.
Exactly.
Right.
But you have to put that thing out there.
Yeah.
Julius brought something up earlier that I really liked, and I wanted to kind of expand on a little bit more. That sleeping with her is not the goal. Like, that in and of itself is not the goal. That's a byproduct of building a good relationship together, of having fun together. Even if it's a first date hookup, even if it's a one-night stand, that is still just the byproduct of having a great time together. So instead of viewing it as the goal, just view it as like the result. It's the other side of the equal sign. If you are adding all of these things together, if you're building this thing, if you're having a great time, then this is just the result rather than the goal that we're aiming for. And so keep that in mind. So if you're worried about, like, oh, this girl didn't sleep with me on the first date, so I'm friend zoned, like, you're missing the point entirely.
Yeah, you're missing the mark completely here.
Okay, I met a super shy girl last week. Now over text, she seems more interested in hanging out again. I felt the first date was good, but when giving a goodbye hug, it was so weird as she didn't reciprocate. That is weird. But she just might be completely inexperienced with men, right? I'm thinking this time being more dry in my conversation, see if she's really interested in invest. Also teasing her about the hug. Yeah, tease her about the hug. Have fun with that. Why would you intentionally try to make yourself more boring? Like, that's the worst strategy I think I've ever heard. Don't do that. Don't do that. You don't want to test her. You don't want to see, like, oh, if she's really invested, then she'll do this. Oh, if she really likes me, then she'll do this. Because where does that end? And also, you don't want her doing that shit to you either, right? Don't play weird games like that. Just be yourself. Be the most interesting and capable version of yourself that you can possibly be, and have fun with her. And you can tease her, right? You can tease her about the hug. Be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that I was taking your hug virginity. Is that the first time anybody's ever hugged you? Like, you can play with her, kind of poke at it a little bit. That's fine. But don't make yourself more boring. I think if she seems like she wants to date more, she's interested in meeting again, good. Go for it. Absolutely.
Yeah, she just sounds like a 3-date type, maybe possibly more, but that's okay too. Yeah. It's just maybe, and that's a good thing, because then if she's that shy about hugging, then it's probably because she doesn't have a lot of experience, which means she hasn't gone around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. You gotta look at the bright side here.
Nice and clean. Smells like a spring breeze.
Yep. She's like that Mount Fiji water, that really
the Fiji water. That's exactly it.
Water, it's sealed and untouched, virgin, unspoiled.
Unspoiled.
That's good. Yeah. Yes. You want to get with someone that's been around the block 500 times.
There's a time and a place for it. Like,
there is. Yeah. Like, if you want to get a quick, easy lay, you don't want a future. You just want
it's called 5 a.m. Caesar.
Yeah. Yeah. Or if you just want, like, a really good blowy, right? Because, like, girls with that experience, they don't know what
you gotta. It's like what I was relieving. It's like a need. You got to fulfill that instinctive need. It's like a dump, piss, sex. It's all the same. It's all right there.
A need for a high class blowy.
Yeah, or that. Be like, you know what? I don't feel like jerking it. I'll let someone else do it for me.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That works. All right, Paul, what's on next for us?
I think we're going to jump a little bit to something that kind of coincides with this and ask, okay, what is a good rule of thumb for when it comes to giving up on trying to invite a girl out for first date when she's showing resistance?
Rule of thumb?
I will say, at least my rule of thumb, I will ask twice. And then after asking twice, I will stop texting.
Yeah.
And then the rule is that if she becomes more interested after I basically ghost her and she is taking initiative, then I will try one more time.
Okay.
And then it's done.
That works. I mean, I'm not really a rule guy, right? Like I usually just go by how I feel or whatever I'm thinking. Like I'm really impulsive. I'm really capricious. My mind jumps around a whole bunch. And so there might be a girl who I'm talking to nonstop for a week, but then I just get busy with other shit and forget to message her and then like totally forget about her. And then she's gone. Or there might be a girl who I messaged twice and I'm like, okay, let's go out on Friday. Okay, cool. And then that's it. Right. I'm not good with rules. So I'm probably not the best person to ask about that. I think Paul's rule sounds fine. If you want just like a general catch-all rule, that seems reasonable. Asking twice, and then if she is either a time traveler, oh, I can't do it that day, oh, I'm so busy this week, whatever. Okay, try again, and then if she's still not, then she's not into you, right?
Yeah, and that's the kind of the idea of that. Like you weed out the girls that are genuinely interested and genuinely busy versus the girls that are just, I just want your attention.
Yeah. Well, in my experience, if a girl wants to meet you, she will find a way to make it happen, even if she's busy, right?
Yeah.
She'll say something like, "Oh, I can't do that day. You know, I have to work overtime this weekend or whatever, but I think I'll be available on Tuesday night or something, right?" She might offer you a counter offer, and that's fine. She's interested. Now, if the counter offer is instead of Friday night at 10 p.m., how about we meet on Tuesday for coffee? Right? Then she's not interested in you, right? Girls who try to propose a coffee date or a lunch date or something, they're just feeling around, just kind of seeing what's out there, but she's not really interested in you. Now she might become interested in you, but she's definitely taking off the table any chance for hooking up or for even calling it a date.
Lunch dates in general are just that's insta friend zone. That's a very very good indicator of knowing when just to kind of
I agree.
Yeah, I would say like if you go on a lunch date, then if the suggester of the date is the girl to go for lunch, then either she is not interested in you or she is definitely a three date girl, and that you will be able to tell on the first date. If she seems like she is fairly interested, then it might be the case that you got a 3-date girl there.
Maybe. Whenever I did a player's experiment, whenever I went completely sober for a month, I did a few lunch dates during that time because it's very, very difficult for me to have evening dates and not drink. So I did a few lunch dates, but most of them were just time wasters. Like a girl who agrees to go on a lunch date, it means nothing unless she's traveling to meet you for lunch nearby your place. Then, mosquito. Then maybe she's actually interested, right? Maybe she's opening the door to more possibilities. I don't know, 3-date girls. I feel like 3-date girls would still meet you in the evenings. Like,
Yeah,
unless there's some kind of really good reason.
they will meet you in the evening.
yeah,
But
3-date girls.
my
Yeah,
strategy
in
with
the evening.
them was always like, okay, if I realize that this is a 3-date girl, I will do 2 dates in a day. I'll do one lunch date with her, and then I'll go on another date with someone I believe that I can bring home on the first date, right?
Sure. Well, and
But
that's fine.
other than that, I technically have another rule about that for myself, is that lunch is for friends and family.
Lunch is for friends and family. Which one do you
Yeah.
want to be?
Yeah.
And the reason for that is that there's nothing sexy or romantic or can lead to hooking up on a lunch date.
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing erotic about it.
Nothing will happen. It's dead in the water. Don't do it.
Counterpoint: lunch dates in Cheongna worked very well for me because I would meet girls for lunch like before I had to go to work, right? And we would meet for lunch nearby my place, and then I'd be like, "Oh, we need to walk my dog because he just needs to go out. Hey, come with me. Let's go and walk the dog." And then it would work just the same as at night, where like she comes over, and then we take the dog out, we bring Simba back, and then you hook up. So lunch dates, if you're near your place, can work, but I feel like I'm talking more to the guys who don't need help. In like if you can get a hookup off of a lunch date, then you don't need help with the rest of the stuff. You're not asking these questions.
Yeah.
Speaking of questions, what's our next one, buddy?
How do girls in the West versus girls in Korea show signs of disinterest? I will say my experience, since I'm the only one currently living in the West, is that girls in the West will be a lot more direct about it.
Mm-hmm.
You will either see the disgust on their facial expression. They will just say hell no, or in your dreams, stuff like that. Or if you're actually on a date, you will see them just disappear into their phones or just start to get an attitude, and at least in my experience. While girls in Korea, it's way more subtle. They try to be very friendly, even though they have no interest in you.
Yeah.
But they will do stuff with their body, like they will turn away from you. They will refrain from touching you.
Mm-hmm.
They will
or
kind
they'll
of
pull away whenever you
if you try
touch
to
them. Yeah.
yeah. So they will kind of put all of these boundaries between you. I think for most people, I think for Korean girls, red signs like in body language, just watch the video from Shooting the Shit with Rich, because that covers it all.
What did we talk about in that?
I
made the video and I don't even know what was in it.
That is red and green flags in terms of body language.
That one, the red and green flags video.
Yeah, that one is actually really good when it comes to this.
Okay, good. We were pretty drunk.
I know.
I mean, like we were doing it in Cocky Pub, right? And we were already blasted before we started. But yeah, that one goes over some of the good red and green flags to look out for if a girl's interested or not. I really like the thing you pointed out there about the attitude. Western girls generally will, if they're really interested in you, then they'll let you do anything, right? Like they'll follow along with you. They'll agree with you. They'll maybe push back, maybe like a little bit of the witty banter that they love so much, but actual attitude they won't have. Like they'll stow that away for later. But if she's not interested in you, then even if she's out on a date with you, you guys might be hanging out, but she's going to be giving you so much shit that you're going to wish you weren't out on the date. I feel like with Western girls, pretty fast if she's not interested in you. But you're right that Koreans are more subtle. They're generally friendlier, and they want to give kind of the benefit of the doubt of saying like, well, you know, maybe he's just really friendly. Maybe he's nice, even though I'm not interested, right? Maybe he's just really friendly. And they do a lot of that benefit of the doubt kind of stuff. So you can't always tell immediately if they're not interested, but you should be able to figure it out by her not asking questions, by her not giving you good answers, good explanations, right? Like if you say something like, "Oh, tell me about your favorite vacation or a great trip that you took one time," and she says, "Oh, I went to Japan with my family last summer. It was fun." Right? She's not interested. Right?
Yeah.
That answer is not the answer that you give to somebody who you want to make them like you.
I think the biggest difference might be that when you're dating a Korean girl, if you are not experienced or not, let's call it rehearsed in looking like noticing these patterns or kind of distinctions, you can go home after the date thinking it went really well, and then there's absolutely nothing there.
Yeah.
With a girl from the West, that will not happen. Like you will have a pretty good idea that this went to shits.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's true as well. A lot of, well, you say that, but here's the thing, Paul, is that a lot of guys in the West live in like a fantasy world where all of these things that I talked about today all happen, and they're still like, yeah, but she liked my message, so she must be interested in me, right? And like, and they will almost intentionally ignore all of the obvious signs that she's not interested in them. And if you have a hard time telling if a Western girl is interested in you or not, you stand no chance of figuring it out in Korea, honestly. Like you really need to start better understanding social cues and the kinds of hints that she's giving you so that you can even date successfully in Korea without just pining after some girl who isn't going to remember your name. What do you think, Julius?
I mean, yeah, I guess pretty much nailed everything. I mean,
You're titties and shit.
yeah, I was like, yeah, there's a lot of subtleties with Korean women, Eastern women in general. I've had bad dates in Korea and I've had bad dates in the West, and the way the bad dates ended in both countries are completely different. So in Korea, if a bad date just didn't work out, the girl was just giving me, a look, and things just didn't work out. I never met her again. In the West, I got yelled at and screamed at because feminism was brought up, and I went nuclear and asked my brother to come over and make her mad, and he did. So that's totally different. I could go nuclear in Korea and get Jack to come out and sabotage the date for me. But with Korean women, it's never gotten to the point where I've had to resort to doing that, right? Because it's just so much more subtle.
Wait, no, hold on.
Yeah.
Push back. You did do that once.
To
you
what?
called me. You called me up while you were like on a date in Hongdae, and you were like, "Hey, I want you to come blow this thing up so that we can just go drinking together." And I was like, "Okay, yeah." Like I'm
glad you brought that up.
Over.
The girl was a Westerner. She was not Korean.
There you go, and that's why.
Yeah. I was like, all right, I got to get the nuclear launch codes, and I called you, and it's because again, the girl. I was like, I need a very obvious way of making this end. And Korea, you just don't do that. You just say bye, thank you for everything, whatever, and off you go. Like I said, I think that really proves the subtlety, the subtle difference, the difference of subtlety in this culture with the women. Yeah. Look out for the small signs and learn them.
I think so too. All right, Paul, we have another question.
Yes, we have one last question here, and that is when does a girl decide if she doesn't like you? Does she draw a line once she sees you, once she starts talking to you, or is the default like I don't like you until proven otherwise? I think for me, I think this one comes in multiple stages.
Yeah.
The first obvious thing is that is she physically attracted to you, and that is yes or no instantly.
Right.
And then the next one comes, the next kind of line you have to pass is that are you a weirdo, or do you seem weird or cringe, or like do you tick make me tick somehow? Like it's just something that just goes ugh. And if you go past that, then it becomes okay, what are you saying?
Sure.
Does what you say correspond with what you are as a person, who I am as a person? And then lastly is there chemistry, I guess. And
Yeah.
then once you've gone through all of that, remember this can change any minute, any time, because it's only how she feels right now.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that entirely. I definitely at the beginning, she's going to put you into one of two buckets. She's going to put you in the I can imagine myself kissing him bucket, or I can never imagine myself kissing him. That's the friend zone. And right from the beginning, you're put into one of those buckets. The goal, obviously, is to be in the it's possible but not a certainty bucket. But after that, everything you do is, I don't know. It's like a video game, right? It's like managing your companion's relationships in Dragon Age or Mass Effect or something like that, where everything you do moves it up or down. It moves it positive or negative, and you can say things or do things that are instantly going to make her drop out. She's not interested at all anymore. Or you can say and do things that are instantly going to make her like, yeah, I'm down. Let's bang. Okay. But what that is different for every girl, and it's different for every guy as well. Like just what works for me does not work for Julius or for Paul. Right? It's different to the person. So there's not like a clear answer of exactly what to do. There's not a magic cheat code that you can put in to just maximize all relationships or anything like that. But if you figure out what actually works for you, then you can start, even if you're starting in the negative, right? Which is, if we're being entirely honest, that's where I start every time, right? Because a girl looks at me and she's like, oh, you're old, fat, and bald. Like, no thanks, man. Right? That's okay, cool. I'm starting in the negative. But then I'm able to build that up to, yeah, this is really fun. This is really cool. I'm into it. I'm down with this because of those other things that you do. So none of it is an instant game over, except maybe like the feminist thing, right? Like Julius was saying earlier.
Oh yeah.
You know, like
I sabotaged that one quick.
Yeah. But you knew what you were doing. It was intentional, right?
Yep.
And so when you're doing something like that can completely nuke whatever you had going on. But for everything else, there's no instant game over. Because
I think
even ugly dudes get laid.
I really like the analogy. And I think you're very right. Like there are things that can instantly blow it up, and the things that are drastically reducing your chances. So I like it. Like you think of it like a point system, right? Like whenever you say or do something right, you get 1 point or 2 points, depending on what it is.
Sure.
But remember, the downfall is always 10 points or more, right? One fuck up and outweighs 10 right things, right?
Yeah. Well, and it depends on what the fuck up is, right? Because if your fuck up is something like, oh, she asked you for a vodka soda, but you brought a gin and tonic instead. It's like, oh, my bad. But do you like gin anyway? Because this is what I've got, right? Then like, no, nobody really cares. That's small. But if your fuck up is something like, You start talking to her about other girls, or you try to talk to her about like anime or some shit, right? Then like you might lose 50 points instead of 1.
Yeah, or
Definitely
like
different.
you have a conversation and then like and then if, for example, she's a non-smoker and you just say, oh, I'm gonna go have a smoke.
Yeah.
That can also be like an instant killer
Sure.
in some cases.
Yeah.
It depends on the
Interestingly
person.
enough, I never had that be an issue when I was
For
dating.
me, it only happened once.
Yeah.
But I know, like, but it, like, even though it doesn't necessarily make the big outcomes every time,
Yeah.
at least you lose some points for it,
Yeah, you definitely do.
unless they are a smoker themselves, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely do lose some points for it. But if you're doing everything else well, and if you're actually presenting yourself well, then it doesn't matter really. What do you think, Julius? Oh, just assume she's interested until she leaves or does something that makes you stop being interested. Her usual uninterested behaviors are quite the turnoff. Not following the lead, no interest. Yeah, I agree with that, Coot, right? Like if she's not interested in you, it's going to turn you off as well. Right? So you should be able to rather naturally figure out if she's interested or not. Sorry, Julius. Go ahead, buddy.
Oh no, I mean it's just I don't know, like if she's just oh geez, that's yeah, okay. Came out of nowhere.
A big boy.
No, she's just like not interested or something like that. To me, it kind of begs the question: how did you get her so interested to go out with you to where now she's suddenly not interested in you? Right? Like, so, like, what happened between? Was there something about you physically that just kind of made things go downhill? Is she the kind of person who? And this is a weird thing that's increasingly happening these days, and it's is she the kind of person who interacts with more people online than she does in person? And so the person that you're talking to, this is her online persona, but it has something it's very different from her real life one. That's the thing we're beginning to see a lot more these days.
Yeah.
Right. So like when you meet up, it's kind of like, what? It's really
she doesn't know what the hell to do. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like, oh, this is I wasn't expecting this, so a lot of the problems, it could be that. What's up, Paul?
I really like what you said there, because there's a big difference between a girl that agrees to go on a date of Tinder or Bumble than a girl you met in person. Because if a girl you've met in person and gotten the date from either meeting her at the bar or meeting her on the streets, if she says yes to a date, she is interested, which means if she then becomes uninterested, it was something you did or said in most cases. While a girl from the apps, she can just show up and say, yeah, I don't feel this at all. Right? So there's a little bit of difference there that is quite significant when it comes to this.
Yeah, which I mean also is a nice reminder for guys, in-person stuff is just so much better. Like online, gosh, that is garbage. So but yeah, that is something you got to think about too. And if it's getting to the point where you just have to like lead everything and she's just not being receptive, go ahead. It could be a little more creative, maybe get a game of darts or something more that you have an activity that a competitive nature or an activity you both can do where you can interact physically in some way. But yeah, I don't know if she's not putting in the effort while you are, and I mean, I don't think she's worth the effort, in my opinion. So
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
I completely agree. I think, like, for some reason, she has said yes to go out with you anyway. So, like, at some point, you did something to make her lose interest. And that could be like if it coming off the apps or stuff like that, that could mean the person she was talking to online or seeing in the picture doesn't really match with the person you are in person. That can be one thing. If it's a person you met in person and then gone out with a date on, then of course, then she's already seen you. She knows who you are. So then it's
Completely
only
assess you for
something.
it.
Yeah. Then
Yeah.
it's kind of your own fuck up at some point.
Yeah.
Well, another thing that a lot of people don't realize is that in person, you have a much better chance of, first of all, finding and meeting the right kinds of girls that you actually want. But second, you can make up for so much stuff in person that you can't online. Let me close the door. The dogs are being assholes. So like for me, online is never going to work well because no matter how good my pictures are, they're still going to be like, yeah, but you're 37 and you're bald, right? Like even if we like Photoshop everything and make me look amazing, like okay, great, but you're still just putting lipstick on a pig basically. However, in person, then they get to actually experience Jack, right? And it is something very fun, very attractive. It's something that they're interested in. And so they want more. They want to talk to me. They want to hang out with me. But online, they wouldn't give me a second thought. And so it's much easier for me to meet a better quality girl, a higher quality girl in person than it ever would be online.
Yeah, me too. Shit.
Exactly. Well, and that's the thing is that like no matter who you are, your quality threshold, your quality limit is much higher in person than it is online. Because if you're a 4, then online maybe you can get 4s and 5s, but in person you can get 6s and 7s. And if you're already a 9, if in some of the guys that I work with are right, like I have some guys who are just legitimately beautiful creatures, but it doesn't matter because they keep finding shit girls online. And I'm like, right, okay, fix that, right? Obviously, the issue is that you're using the apps, so you're getting shit girls. They might be hot, but they're just not fun to be around, or they're crazy, or they, like you're always better offline than online for literally everybody. So that's my take on it. Plus, all the other reasons that I've gone over before about how it absolutely damages your psyche, ruins your confidence, makes you try to settle for less, how the algorithms work against you to literally not give you matches or give you the worst possible matches so that you'll pay more money to get more things. And it's I'm not mad at them.
Especially when it was all free before. So you're like,
Yeah.
what? So stupid. It's so greedy.
I'm not mad at them for running a business, but the fact is that their business model runs purely on psychological damage. And so that part is very much not good. I would get off the apps if at all possible. The only exceptions being if you're going to travel or if you are just in the middle of fucking nowhere and you have to set your match range to like 100 miles or something. Like, fine. If that's all that you have,
oh yeah,
fine. But anything else, like anything other than the plains of rural Wyoming or some bullshit, right? Like anything else, you're better getting off the apps. Even traveling, honestly. Like when I last went to Japan, it took me all of like 10 minutes off the plane to start meeting and talking to girls there, right? Like it's not even traveling, it's still better than the apps. So I don't know. I obviously have a lot of thoughts on that, but maybe we'll get into that another time. Oh, are you guys in a hurry right now?
No,
I'm not.
Okay, cool. Because I had a request from inside the Discord community, and I think it's something that we can talk about kind of as a group as well. He asked, let me actually just bring it up exactly, and then
Is it Brandon's question?
yeah. Can you
Yeah.
copy that in as a comment so that we can bring it up on the screen?
There we go.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, good. I would love to see a video on why you decided to leave the life of variety and endless sex with new girls for a marriage. Me and Chris were really thinking about this on the weekend. Okay. It's not something that a lot of guys in this space talk about. Almost everybody is super anti-marriage, anti-long-term relationship, all this stuff. And here's the thing is that for me, at least, that was always kind of the goal, right? Where like there were a lot of pit stops along the way, but the goal was always to find somebody who I really loved and really wanted to be with, and then stay together with them. And the reality is that the variety and the endless sex, it's actually not that varied. It's pretty much all the same. When you're on your 250th first date and the whole thing is scripted, you know exactly what she's going to say, what she's going to ask you. You know exactly what response to give her that gets a laugh every single time. You know exactly how to explain this thing, how to say this thing, how to physically escalate. And it becomes robotic, and it's not fun, right? It's like if you've ever learned music, right? It's like playing the same scale over and over and over again every single day, but never going beyond that, never learning to play a song, never trying to create something new, never anything else. It's just the same basic shit every single time. And like, sex is fun. It feels great. And there's always something inherently enjoyable and fun about the first time that you bring a girl back to your place, or that you get her naked or whatever else. But like, so what, right? It's imagine if you could eat any food you wanted for the rest of your life. Like, you have all of these different varieties of food, but they all taste the same. Or if you could just pick one food and have that, but it's your favorite food, right? Like, I understand the variety, I understand that bit, but it's tiring, it's exhausting, and to be entirely honest, it took a ton of my focus and my energy. Because if you're whatever your situation is, if you're juggling multiple girls, oh my God, the amount of time and effort that takes to keep that thing moving and to keep those plates spinning, it's not worth it at all. Or if you go the other way and you say, okay, cool, I'm not going to keep anybody around. I'm just going to have random hookups with strangers. Okay, cool. How much of your day is that going to take up? How much time are you spending on the apps? How much are you going out to the bars to meet these people? How much of your time, money, energy, effort, whatever else is wasted because of all this stuff? I don't have that problem anymore, right? Like, I still get sex on tap, and with somebody who I really like and who knows what I like, and I have time to actually focus on the things that are important to me, on building the business, on coaching guys, on doing all this other stuff. I have the time, I have the mental space, I have the energy for it, where previously I just didn't, right? If I'm being entirely honest, there is no way in which my life has gotten worse since I got married. and it's not like brand new or anything either. I'm not like still in the honeymoon thing. We're 4 years deep at this point, and everything's better. What do you guys think? I mean, I know that neither of you are married, but you've both been in longer term relationships before, and you've been, you've had harems and you've had hookups and whatever else. And so, what are your thoughts on this?
The long term relationships and having the steady one where you're not fucking around and doing things, and I think it's far better than having to divvy them up, to have the stress of having one come over and then forgetting the one hair or the toothbrush you forgot to put away, or that you forgot to clean the drain, or just a myriad of other things. Like you think you got everything, but you left a shampoo bottle in the thing because you're a fucking idiot. But because you've done it 1,000 times, but mathematically you're going to get caught.
Yeah.
Or here's another cool one. When you're at the home and then another one comes at night, uninvited. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. I mean,
they just
all
show
these
up.
concerns and worries just disappear. Peace of mind, money, effort, time.
Yeah.
The fact that it's all kind of samey. Like, yeah, there's a cool thrill, and I did 3 in a day, whatever. But then it's kind of like, is it really worth it? I'd rather just have the one and make that one last.
Yeah.
Than I just fuck it all up because I wanted to be cool or something. It's in my opinion, it's really not that worth it. Right. So it was not a fun story, so I don't want to tell it. But it's what it did that thing where because she came. It sucked. So
I'll tell one of those, Coot. So don't worry, Julius. You can be off the hook here because mine's awesome. A bit funnier, and it's not so depressing. Mine was this is years ago, and I had brought a girl back to my place on Saturday night, and then Sunday morning, the regular just showed up. Uninvited, nothing. She had sent messages, but I was passed out, right? And so I didn't see them. And she just showed up on Sunday morning and knocked at the door. And she started putting in the code.
Oh my God.
I have never in my life moved this fast. I heard the code start typing in. And before she finished the 4-number code, I had woken up, got up, thrown a robe on, and got to the door. And then I jumped there in the door jam, and I was like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" She's like, I was a bit worried about you. You weren't answering any messages. You didn't answer your phone, so I just thought I'd come by, maybe bring you some coffee. I figured you were hungover." And I was like, "Look, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Here's the thing. Right now, I'm actually masturbating, so I need you to go away. And I'll meet you down at the cafe downstairs in like 15 minutes. Sound good?" She was like, "Wait, what?" Like, "Yeah, I'm jerking it right now. Like, I need time. I need to finish this. Once I've started, you cannot stop. So I appreciate you. Coffee, wonderful, great, excellent. You can go ahead and order me an Americano downstairs. I'll be there in about 15 minutes, okay?" And then just like close the door in her face and send her on her way. And then I turned to the girl who's in the bed. Like she like pulled the blanket up over her head like a child trying to hide. And she's like, "Is everything okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, but you need to go. Like, wait 2 minutes and then go." And she's like, okay. And I sent her away. But like she knew, right? Like she knew. She definitely knew what was going on. I thought I was clever as hell at the time, like to come up with that in the moment and be like, "Yeah, this is the reason you definitely can't come in. Porn's on the screen," right? Oh no, my microphone.
That's hilarious. That
is actually pretty funny. To me, that was always the other way around. So what I always did is like, whenever they asked me like, "Do you do this often, or do you go on dates often?" It's like I was always just brutally honest, right?
Yeah.
Like I told them, "Yeah, you're number 2 today. I have a date with another girl tomorrow. Stuff like that. And then I had girls messages me like, if your date today goes bad, call me and we can hook up. Like they all knew about each other. Like they didn't know who they were, but they knew there were more. And in my case, that turned out to just the girls got this competitive instinct and they kind of try to keep you for themselves because they want you. And
well,
that is
the thing with that is that I was able to give you that correct and ethical advice because I've done it wrong in the past. So
yeah, exactly.
All of the advice that I give is based on right. So I've fucked this one up before. Let me tell you what to do instead. And so that's why like now I'm able to give you good advice because I've done all the wrong things before.
Exactly. But what I was going to say is that regarding the original question about like when you decide to live the life of variety for either marriage or long-term relationships.
Sure.
In my opinion, like dating a lot of girls and having a harem back when I did that, it wasn't about fucking girls. It was about learning to know myself and what I wanted in girls. Like learning to better tell, okay, where is that girl that I can spend the rest of my life with, right? Rather than it's just a numbers game.
Right.
Because it was never really a numbers game.
No.
It was about figuring out, okay, what type of girls do I like? What are my absolute yeses and nos? And also to like just figure out, okay, how to be better. And so that if I actually meet a girl that I really like, make sure that it actually succeeds. Right.
Yeah.
So yes, we do keep saying that quantity is a good thing when starting out with game. And the reason for that is, in my opinion, or in my experience, was that the more girls I hooked up with and the more girls I met, the more sure or more clear picture I got of the girl that I actually want.
Right.
And
And
then the
you know
rest
what
of the
to do
time,
when you meet her.
exactly. And for the rest of the time, what does it hurt to have some fun?
Yeah.
Right.
I
But
think
to
that
me, like the idea of dating is to find a girl that brings me inner peace rather than that. And if you think that it's very fun with the variety and endless sex, just try to manage a group of 4 or 5 girls or try to go for a perfect month. You will see exactly how much work it actually is.
It's
Yeah.
hard.
Because at that point, it's not just hard, but it's 2 or 3 hours every day of just organizing shit. And then you have to meet someone every day and you have to talk to people, and you can't really talk to others while you're on your date or when you're hooking up. So you need to find a time for that. And then all of a sudden, 24 hours isn't enough anymore.
Yeah. It takes so much of your time, your effort, your
Yeah.
energy, and all that
It's
stuff.
exhausting. It really is a massive undertaking. Once you have like a group and you have to do these things, it's hard. And it's crazy when you have like a consistent 3, but then you have like 1 or 2 extras that just kind of like pop in.
Yeah.
And so now your group goes from 3 to 4 to 5 that you have to manage, and you don't take those into account. They just kind of fall in, and you're like, all right, okay, so now I'm putting more time and effort into this than I am my job and everything else. That's crazy. So think about that, guys. I mean, I think the appeal of it wears extremely thin when you just see how much of a toll it takes on everything else in your.
Yeah, it's really, really fun for a month or two, and then it's like, yeah, fuck this.
Yeah, it's kind of like I don't have the time or energy for this, or time, energy, money, effort. Put that into exercise. Put that into one relationship. Put that into your career.
Then, a lot like you say, but also like, and then you can come with the counter argument. Yeah, but what if I only hook up with 1 or 2 girls a week? At that point, why not be in a serious relationship where you at least can have sex 5 times a week, right?
Yeah.
Like if that's the point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I think that another thing to point out here is that the goals you have, like the reasons for doing things, matter. And so the way that this question is phrased of like, why would you give up the variety and endless sex? And it's like, okay, it feels to me like your goal here is just sex with lots of different people. And if that's the goal by itself, then your best bet actually is prostitutes, because it's cheaper than a lot of dating. It's faster. You don't have to waste time and energy and effort worrying, thinking about it. You don't have to worry about, like getting caught, like the stray hair in the drain or whatever else, right? So if the only goal is actually just, I just want to stick my dick in as many different possible holes as I can, then prostitutes are your best answer. But I feel like whenever I say that, the guy who asked this is also going to recoil and be like, no, not that, right? Like I'm not that guy. Okay, cool, I get it. Then actually, what's the goal? Because if the goal is to find somebody who, like Paul said, brings you inner peace, or like in my case, where I've never really considered it as inner peace, but just of like happiness, contentment, where I don't have to worry about weird shit. I have somebody to share things with, share good times with, share burdens with, all that stuff. I have a permanent travel buddy. Or if I want to take a trip by myself, I can also do that. But finding the right person for you and finding the right fit for you should be the actual goal of dating. Otherwise, again, just pay for play, right? I don't personally have any moral objection to that. Now, whether or not it's legal in your country, that's a different story. Obviously, we're on YouTube, so I have to tell you, obey the law of your country, right? But you can go to Thailand or the Philippines or whatever else, right? You can just set up shop there and do that, right? You can have as much sex as you want with lots of different people. So if the goal is just sex, then why aren't you doing that now? Because it's not like it's money prohibitive, right? If you're going on 5 dates a week, that costs you way more in terms of money, in terms of time, in terms of effort, energy, all that stuff, than just getting a hooker a couple of times a week. So if you're not doing that, then that means that there's actually a reason other than just the endless sex or just the variety. Whatever that thing is, that thing that's drawing you, that thing that makes you recoil at the thought of being one of those sexpats in Thailand who just you're just there and like you just hang out with the hookers. That thing that makes you recoil from that is the actual reason why you're dating. And so if you find somebody who is a good fit for you, who is all the things that you want, then what's the draw of the prostitutes at that point? Or what's the draw of just like, well, I mean, a hole's a hole, man, right? Like it's just that doesn't.
You get old. It gets old,
Yeah.
And one important thing too here is that like once you fall into that, it's kind of really hard to get out of, and you'll end up meeting some individual women, some women that are like truly excellent people, but then you completely fuck it up, and then you blow your chance completely because you're too busy being an idiot, So that's something you don't want to risk, and that's something that you definitely need to learn, like when to stop.
Yeah. I think that was what kind of got me about it. Like, so when I had my harem, there was, of all the girls that ever were in there knew about each other except one. And that was the one girl that I thought, okay, this girl I can actually date.
Yeah.
Right? I can keep this girl long term. And that turned into almost 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Good.
And
Yeah,
I think
I had another friend. We all know this guy, Cards, and I advised him to do the same. I was like, hey, don't fall into this thing. Know when to quit when you meet the right one. Just tell the others to fuck off and do what you can to make this one girl matter and work. And he did that. So he listened and made it work. But it's a lot harder than you guys think.
Yeah.
You just drop everything.
It is, but also it's, I don't know. It's I don't struggle with it, right? Like of course, there are times, there are temptations. There's a girl right there, but I don't really have any difficulty in saying like, oh no, I'm not gonna do that. We can party, we can have a good time, we can have drinks together, we can flirt back and forth, and have the witty banter that you love so much. But I'm not gonna fuck you, right? Like, because I already know my needs are taken care of, and it's not something that I'm willing to risk for what, just some hookup with another stranger. Like, I already know what that feels like. I've been there. So what mystery do you offer me, right? Like, it's not as hard as I expected it to be. Of course, there are days, right? There are days when it's difficult, but 99% of the time, it's easy enough, Anyway, I feel like we've pretty well covered that. So unless you guys have any more questions, or you guys have anything else you want to, okay. What's your opinion on someone who is married and happy with that relationship, but looks for more outside of that relationship? Here's the thing. If you feel like you need to get something else, you should tell your wife that, right? Like, if you, let's say that you're married to a girl and she's like, yeah, listen, we can have sex anytime you want, but I simply refuse to give blowjobs. Well, if that's the thing that is really important to you, you should have that conversation. Be like, okay, cool. If that's how you feel about it, that's fine. But here's the thing. I'm very firmly in the pro blowjob camp. So how can we square this circle? We have a couple of options, and not all of them are great. So let's figure out what we can do. And then actually have a chat with her. And you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised what people will say if you just tell them, like, look, I need something else. I want to keep this thing going. I like that, but I need something else. And she says, look, fine. If you really need blowies, you can get those. Just, you can't get a girl pregnant. You can't bring things home. You got to wear a rubber or whatever. I don't know. Maybe she sets some ground rules for what it is. But if you're actually in a good relationship with somebody and there's something you need that they are either unable or unwilling to do, then have that talk with them and see what they think, right? Like, be real about it, be open, be honest, because even though it's uncomfortable, it's weird, right? Like, of course it is, and I'm sure that Steven,
it's really weird to just be like, yeah, I want my penis in your mouth.
Yeah, exactly. That's not
a weird
a weird conversation to have with your wife, right? Like, that's perfectly fine. But I'm sure that you're screaming at the screen right now, like, Jack, I can't fucking tell my wife that I want to get blowies from other people. And it's like, actually, yeah, you can, but the way that you present it, the way that you frame it is going to make a big difference in how she responds.
And also, I think it's a very important thing to remember is that whenever you do ask these kind of things that are very out there, is this a hill you're willing to die on?
Right.
Because if this is important enough that this is a make or break, even though you are happy, but this is something you need, if that's the case, what consequences are you willing to risk if you bring it up?
Exactly. That's exactly right. Like, just like everything else in life, you can do whatever you want, but it has a cost. Is it a cost you're willing to pay or not? And you might think to yourself, well, if I just don't have the conversation, but go out and get blowies anyway, then that's no cost. Incorrect. That is incorrect. You are paying a different kind of cost. You're paying a high risk cost. Because the chances of you getting caught at some point are basically 100%, right? Like, on a long enough timeline, it increases to about 100% that at some point you will get caught. Also, you're paying a mental and emotional cost because you have to lie about things, because you have to hide things, because you have to cover things up. You have to worry about things like that. You're paying the cost because you didn't want to just have the conversation, or just not, right? Just don't do it either, right? Like that's also an option. And so being real about your different options and different solutions to a problem, but also understanding this is the cost that I have to pay for it. Am I willing to pay this cost? Like Paul said, is it a hill I'm willing to die on? Is this a need or is this a want? It's an important one, right? Because like my wife definitely wants me to stop drinking beer, but she's not going to demand that I stop drinking beer because it's not a hill she's willing to die on. Because it is a hill I'm willing to die on, right? Where like I'd be like, oh no, absolutely not. I'm not going to stop drinking. That's silly. So there's no point in her trying to do that because she knows that would create such a schism that it would not be able to continue. Same thing here, where I don't know your relationship, and I don't know if you're asking for you or for somebody else, but you need to figure out for yourself, is it a cost I'm willing to pay? And if not, why not? And if so, then do it. Pay the cost. Have the conversation. Figure out what your absolute must-haves are, and then also figure out what you have to offer in return if you're going to ask for something, right? So like if you want to go out and get blowies from other girls, are you cool if she goes out and gets a nice little pussy licking from other dudes? Because I know a few single dudes down at the bar that'd be like, yeah, I'll get down at that monkey, right? Like, are you okay with it? And if not, then, right, you need to figure these things out. If it's the same, if it's different, whatever it is, you have to have this conversation. Or don't. It's a cost, right? I don't know. What do you think, Julius?
What could I add to that?
There's a bit of a rant.
No, I didn't consider it a rant. I do think that the underlying theme here is communication.
Yeah.
And then if this thing you need to do is something that is going to destroy your marriage, it's probably not worth doing in the first place. It is worth asking. Now, if it's something weird like
Julius,
what's up?
I just got a message that popped up on my phone. I got a message from your ex. That's fucking weird. I have no idea why. I don't know what it says, right? Because the phone is also the camera, so I can't actually check it.
Weird. Yeah.
But yeah, fucking weird.
Mm-hmm. Which one?
I mean, I'm not going to throw names on here, but the one that had a problem with idiot.
Oh, okay. Right.
Okay. Yeah. The one that we've hung out together several times. Like
okay.
Yeah.
With idiots. I know exactly who.
Yeah. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I didn't want to throw names, right?
Okay.
We're on a public.
Yeah, I totally get that. Awesome, man.
But yeah, after we finish, I'll have a look at that and we'll see what kind of stupid shit she's doing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I have one.
Interrupt you.
I have one last thing to add to what Julius is saying, is that you've gotten to the point where you got married. Yeah. How come this has not been a need before?
Right. Or why hasn't the conversation happened?
Yeah. Like, I feel like for at least most of the cases, these should have been things you talked about a long time before that.
Yeah, no kidding. Like, you made it that far. You didn't talk about everything.
Or just like, okay,
I'm gonna buy this house, not go inside of it.
Hold on, because I'll steel man this a little bit. Like, after marriage, it is pretty common for the sex to kind of dry up or slow down, or like it goes from being like 5 times a week to twice a week to once a week to once every other week, or like that can happen, right? And so in that case, when that happens, that is a conversation that needs to be had, right? Which I get it. I completely understand. If her sex drive is diminishing and yours is not, then that needs to be an actual conversation where you say, okay, cool. The terms of our arrangement that we had before were this, and things, like you're not doing as much as you were before. There are a couple of ways we can solve this. We can solve this by either banging a lot more, even if you're not in the mood, because it's still a need that I have. This is still a thing that I have to do. So even if you're not in the mood, we still need to do that. Or we basically call in a pinch hitter and say, like, all right, cool. You don't want to do it? Neat. She's going to. So you need to give me the leeway and the freedom to do that. And if you want, like, I'll keep it a secret, or I'll, hide it so that you'll never even know. But we need to have this conversation, figure out what do we do to solve this problem? Because if you come at it that way of like the idea of we have a problem together and we can find a solution to it, not all of them are going to be as palatable to you, right? But depending on, again, what cost she's willing to pay, or how she's willing to solve the problem, or if she just says, like, fuck off, I don't care, right? Then, okay, that's probably something you should have known before marriage, right? Seriously. So I don't know about your specific situation, but I feel like if you've made it this far, you know her and she knows you. And the fact that you have a problem that you're unwilling to tell her, and she probably already knows that it's a problem, right? Like, maybe just have the conversation and see what her response is. Talk to her about it.
Yeah, definitely talk to her about it. That's the most important thing, honestly. I mean, the worst she could say is no. I mean, I'm just kind of curious what it is, right?
Well, and even if she says no, like, you're in the same situation you are now, which is like, okay, fine. So then if I want to get sex, I have to go behind her back, which, if that's a thing that you're already doing now, then your worst case scenario is nothing's changed. But your best case scenario is much better than that.
Yeah.
Have the talk.
I think that's a good place to wrap it up, probably.
Yeah, I'm actually getting really
running at it for an hour and 50 minutes.
Jesus.
Have we really? Wow. We're
Yeah, this is the longest one I've done.
Hey, my birthday stream was, or was it the birthday, or was it the 1 year anniversary? Where
1 year anniversary for
where I did the stream for like 12 hours straight and went through like 3 bottles of liquor or something.
Holy shit.
That was a marathon of a stream. Oh, Jesus. Man. Yeah, we had people just like coming in and out all day long and just joining in the conversation. That was fun. Cards joined that day too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think that's the only time he's ever jumped on the live stream. Anyway, the 12-hour plus stream, that was, Coop was there for it. Oh, that was a good one. Anyway, that's where we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for today. So for you guys watching, thank you. Oh, and by the way, if you've somehow made it this far but didn't hit the like button yet, like, please do that. It helps with the algorithm, and it helps with the channel growth, right? All that stuff. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe if you haven't yet. You guys know the drill. You know the drill. You know what to do. But I do appreciate it if you do that. It really does help us a lot. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you, boys, Julius and Paul, for joining in today. Thank you, especially Paul, for being my moderator and helping me with the comments and all that stuff. It's very much appreciated.
Pleasure.
So then that's where we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. So until next time, boys, until next week, Papa Jack out.